We are joined now by Dr. Paul Spearman. He is the incoming president for the Pediatric Infectious Disease Society. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges facing PIDS right now.
Sure. Well, for one of our bigger challenges is antimicrobial resistance, emerging infections that are coming up all the time. It's both a challenge and it adds to the excitement that we have in pediatric infectious disease, is dealing with the constantly changing world of microbes and antimicrobes and how those two interplay. So this is something that we deal with every day, but it's also a big challenge keeping up with it because it moves so quickly.
So you are the incoming president. That is a big job. What are some of the things you hope to accomplish in this year?
Well, one of the big things that we'd like to do this year is to get out to young trainees how exciting this career can be, so that we can really kind of market ourselves a little bit better, because we're not cardiology, we're not some of the really big specialties, but we're really an essential specialty for hospitals and a great one for careers. Another real thing we want to get out to everyone is how important the research parts of the career can be and how rewarding they are, as well as the other kind of subspecialties that we have. We even subspecialize within pediatric infectious disease, believe it or not. So we have developed kind of tracks that include antimicrobial stewardship, transplant infectious disease, pediatric HIV, basic science, and clinical translational research. So there's really, kind of sub-tracks within PIDS. They're all very rewarding. We can't do them all as individuals, but it's something that we like to get across to people who are looking at career choices so that we can continue this really vital specialty.
Is it a challenge, though, to get people to choose the academic track? Because do most people go into medical school saying, I want to be hands-on and not necessarily be in the lab?
Yeah, it's a bigger challenge now than it used to be to kind of promote laboratory-based careers. There are more challenges to those careers. So the number of people coming into looking at pediatric infectious disease with that in mind, that number is down. And I think that's true in other specialties as well. But we want to keep a key group of people still doing that, because we have a role to play in discovery, in discovering new antimicrobials or new diagnostics, or just understanding the biology of a new threat. So, and pediatric infectious disease has a really important role to play in that, as well as in what might seem to be more directly applied things on a day-to-day basis in the hospital, treating patients with serious opportunistic infections, serious resistant organisms. Those are all things that you need continued research on. So, it's not all bench research. We get people to look at careers in all kinds of areas that they can feel comfortable with. They don't have to feel like they have to go pipette all day.
Very good. Well, let's talk on the global stage, because PIDS is looking at things worldwide as well. What are some of the issues there?
Well, we're actually reaching out to a number of sort of sister societies globally, including Australia, New Zealand, European, South American societies that we work together with. Everyone has their own, kind of different global issues. Right now, we are just about overwhelmed with questions about Zika virus, right? That's been really in the news, and it's a very important threat that we just now are trying to look at vaccines for and develop therapeutics for and get better diagnostics for, and even just understand, what's going on with Zika. Why does it persist in someone, for a long time, and how often does that happen? So these are things these are global emerging infections, so we've always got to be aware of all of those. Last year there was more attention on the Ebola outbreak, and the year before that. So that was really quite a big emphasis for us, even though there wasn't much domestically. We have to be really tuned in to what's happening globally and be prepared domestically, as well as working with our global partners.
And there's a lot, and it's never boring, is it?
That's one thing we should get across. If you choose a career in PIDS, you will never be bored. We can guarantee that. It's always going to be different.
All right, Dr. Spearman, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.